Well,
Well,
you ready for this episode?
I am. Are you?
I'm very excited about this movie. It's one of my favorites.
Is it really?
I saw it when I was very young when it first came out, and it was very much influential in my life.
Cool.
So, well, greetings, everyone. Once again, it is I, your sommelier of cinema, your master of fun and wonder, your duke of dope discourse, and of course, your existential Mr. Rogers. And I am here with...
Elizabeth Gwendolyn Bell.
And Elizabeth, where are we right now? What is this that we're doing?
We are doing a show called Elizaviews Whining About Movies.
So they come from you. These views come from you, and we're going to whine about movies.
Yes, we are.
And you can't whine about movies unless...
You have wine.
We have to say that, this is episode 11, 11, and we can't whine about movies without wine.
We definitely need the wine.
We need wine. I think we need wine tonight. We're going a little nutty.
Yeah.
Loopy, a little stir crazy.
Yes, and it was raining today, so...
Yeah, it's going to be raining all week.
Which is horrible because then you can't even go out in your backyard.
It's true. And you drink more. Tonight we're doing a little J-Lore Chardonnay tonight. A nice drop. Got it on sale, right?
Yep.
We got it on sale. I don't think we had it. Have we had a Chard on this show yet?
No.
I think this is our first Chard.
Oh.
Well,
I think we've had one.
I don't know if we've had one, have we? I don't think we had a Chard. We might have had like a
We had a
Sauvignon Blanc, I
Yeah,
think.
but I think we did. I'm not sure.
All right, well, because my physical media was packed away of this disc, we're just going to have to toast and say what we're... Tonight is, of course, cheers. By the way, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Let's try this. It's good. What do you think?
It's good. I'm not a huge Chardonnay fan, but
Oh, well.
it's good.
All right, well, we are drinking to Richard Rush's basically cult film because it didn't get a big release. Peter O'Toole once famously said this movie wasn't released, it escaped. And that would be Richard Rush's 1980 movie about movies, The Stunt Man, based on the novel by Paul Brodeur, I believe is how you pronounce his name, Brodeur. And this film was in development all through the 70s. At one time, William Castle was going to produce this movie with Richard Rush, and then he decided not to make it, and then they wanted Francois Truffaut to make it and other people to make it. But he was actually, in the later 70s, was able to make this film coming off of Getting Straight, and I believe, and then Freebie and the Bean. Richard Rush had done Freebie and the Bean, and before that he had done movies like Hell's Angels on Wheels and Psych Out. So he'd been doing counterculture, sort of hippie, druggy movies in the 60s, but then here was a full-blown literary adaptation that he was going to go do, and I saw this movie. My grandparents took me this movie because it had a huge release. The first place, if memory serves, that it was released was Seattle.
Oh.
My hometown, and I went and saw this. I want to say it opened before 1980 in Seattle, but I could be wrong. But this movie was hugely influential on me. I'd seen All That Jazz the year previous to this, and then this, and it really made me want to make movies. Of course, it stars Steve Railsback, who had come off of playing Charles Manson in Helter Skelter. And then, of course, Peter O'Toole, Lawrence of Arabia himself, who said he based this character on David Lean. Eli Cross, the director Eli Cross, he based his character on David Lean himself, that his behavior that he observed while making Lawrence of Arabia with him.
Oh, okay.
So, what, Elizabeth, did you think of this movie?
This is a delightful movie. I had a
Delightful?
Yes, I had a lot of fun. It's a fun, mysterious, wacky movie.
Well, what kind of a movie is this? Would you call it a drama, a comedy,
It's a
mind?
little comical. It's a little romantic. It's a little adventurous.
Well, what is it about?
Okay, so it's about a fugitive, a guy who's being sought out after by the cops.
We don't really know why.
We don't know why.
And he's a former Vietnam vet. This movie came out in 1980, so like many movies of the period, Vietnam veterans, the idea of the Vietnam War loomed large over this film.
Yes. And so the first scene you see him almost get arrested, and he escapes. And he ends up on this covered bridge, and there's this old car coming at him, and he's trying to hitchhike. So the car...
Did you think that was odd?
I thought it was odd. I was like, wait, I thought this was set in the 80s. So I just thought maybe it's some guy going for a drive in his old car.
Sure.
So the car passes him, but then turns around and comes back. So he gets into the passenger seat, and the guy says, "Get out, get out, get out!"
Literally kicks him out of the car.
Kicks him out of the car, and then he's laying on the covered bridge, and it looks like the car's going to run him over. So he grabs these metal bolts that were on the side of the road, and throws it at the car, and the car goes over into the river.
And then it is revealed that what you suddenly see, which I love, one of my favorite, the reveals of what is real and what is not real in this movie. You look out and suddenly you see the entire banks of the river are filled with people.
Right.
And a whole film crew.
A whole film crew. And then you see a helicopter come, and there's a camera and the director
staring right into.
And they're looking right at him. They're like, I see you.
And so what is going on?
They're making a film.
And what kind of movie are they making?
They're making a World War I film. And he ends up being in the middle of it.
Well, I mean, he makes his way to they filmed it at the Hotel Del Coronado in San Diego.
Yes, which was awesome.
And that's standing in for a European, like some kind of a European location that the Germans, it's like a French town, or actually it's Verdun, because we see a sign that says they're in Verdun in one of the scenes in the movie.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the Hotel Del Coronado in San Diego is filling in for a hotel or a location in Verdun, France.
And that's pretty realistic, I would think.
Is it? So then what happens? So he finds himself, and he gets while he's watching the movie being filmed on the beach. Again,
right.
I mean, this movie constantly plays with your mind about what's real and what's not. And
right.
And so what happens on the beach? That he's watching this thing.
So on the beach, he runs into this. Well, he's watching the filming, and then he runs into this little old lady who is walking out on the rocks, which I don't know why a little old lady would be doing that, but she falls into the ocean, and he goes to save her. And as he gets her, holds her up out of the water, she pulls her prosthetics off. And he's like, "Oh, I know you," and she's some big actress. She's a big actress.
Barbara Hershey plays her, Nina.
Right.
And he rescues her, but in a funny moment, he throws her back into the water, and she goes, "No, rescue me! I've always wanted to be."
Right. So he carries her out of the water, and then the cops show up. Right. The cops show up,
and you find out that the driver of that car, the old car on the bridge, died.
Yeah. He's missing. He's
missing. He's swept away in the water.
And so the cops come, and in the meantime, the director spots him again and says, "Follow my lead." And he tells the cops that no, he's the guy who was in the car, and that he's alive, and that's how he becomes the stuntman.
The cops are mistaken. Yes. And so Peter O'Toole takes this fugitive, and he knows that he's a fugitive because he has handcuffs.
Right.
He's cut open, and his handcuffs on his arms, and Peter O'Toole knows, and he sees that there's this raw anger in Steve Railsback's character, and I think the director is hoping that some of what is in this guy will rub off on his movie.
Right. Yes.
And sort of draws him in. And is going to learn from his Vietnam experience, and then decides to make him the stuntman, because he says
he lost his main stuntman, and then he's got this guy with the right kind of emotions for the role, and so he talks him into being the stuntman, or actually saves him from being arrested.
They have this very push-pull relationship.
Yeah,
and you don't know whether or not the director is doing this for the right reasons, and he's very go ahead.
He gets increasingly more and more paranoid as the film goes on, because he thinks that possibly he's trying to kill him. That the director, who's like over the top, tries to kill
and that's
trying
Peter
to kill
O'Toole,
him.
Eli
Peter
Cross,
O'Toole,
the director.
amazing.
In an Academy Award nominated performance.
Yeah, did he win?
No.
Oh,
Tour de force performance.
Yeah, his performance was pretty amazing.
Now, how did you feel about that? And how did you feel about how they're constantly playing with the audience? You don't know what's real and what's not, and they really do a great job, I thought, of putting Steve Railsback and the audience is constantly wondering, is this real or is this not real? And they totally subvert your expectations and they trick you.
They do trick you. Because you know he's in a film, but like he's doing stunts, and then you think the stunt is over, and then he does something crazy, and you're like, oh shit, he's going to die. And then you see the camera again, you're like, oh, they're still filming. So there are many moments like that. You're like, oh my God, what is he doing?
Well, it does play fast and loose with the idea of, as you know, having taken a film class, you know, each shot in a movie, you have to stop and start and relight it and set up and go. This movie doesn't do that. It's sort of, it plays out like filming a movie is a whole sequence. Like you're just, you're dropped into World War I, and they play out this long sequence that would take days to shoot.
Right.
But then the way they show it to you, the way it's presented, it's like what his mind is perceiving. In my mind, the way, when I watched the movie even as a kid, I'm like, okay, they're taking all of this and they're compressing what might, even though it's only like over a 3-day period of time, it would have taken weeks to shoot what we see in the movie.
Totally. Especially with all those stunts and all those people in it. Like, yeah.
So it does play fast and loose with the film, but it's what's in his mind.
But that's what's charming about the movie.
Right.
I think. Yeah, so, yeah, he gets increasingly more paranoid. He thinks the director is trying to kill him. Oh, and in the meantime, he forms this relationship with Nina, the main actress.
And she falls in love with him.
She falls in love with him, but then at some point he finds out that she's slept with the director, and he assumes that it's like
ongoing,
right? But it's not. It was like 3 years ago and it didn't work out. And so he becomes even more paranoid by that.
Now, how did you feel about the whole portrayal? I mean, one of the things that I loved about this movie is that even though it plays fast and loose with the filmmaking process, you really get a sense of what a film crew is like. You meet Chuck Bale as a stuntman, plays himself. Sharon Farrell, who plays the makeup artist. You meet kind of the gypsy caravan of players. The writer, who's constantly beleaguered because the director is changing his scenes. Like, how did you feel about that aspect of the movie?
Yeah, that was great to see because they were like friends. They would hang out and go out at night after filming, and it was nice to see like what it's like to be on a film and be part of a crew.
And it was very accurate. That whole thing
like
about how everybody comes, you know, everyone's familial. Like when you're, and after you yell cut or whatever, and you end your day, and everybody kind of goes out. Whenever you wind up together, it's sort of this big gypsy group.
Right.
And there's all kinds of inner dynamics and things like that.
Yeah, I'm sure you become very close with the people you're spending your entire days with. So yeah, that was I thought that was very interesting.
Now, how did you feel about how the story progressed? Did you feel that Steve Railsback, did you ever think that he was in danger?
Yeah, there are moments, where I'm like, I'm not sure. Maybe the director is trying to kill him. And then I kept waiting for the original stuntman to like show up. Like he didn't really die because they didn't find him. So I'm like, when is he going to show up? But he doesn't. He never does.
Well, that's one of the things, like, there is a case to be made that this is kind of all in Steve Railsback's mind. I mean, I don't usually like to say that, but there is an element of
like
whether...
the whole film?
Well, yeah, like, I mean, I think this happened, but the way events unfold, I always kind of saw it, since we're really seeing the movie through his eyes, that there is an element of his Vietnam paranoia, PTSD.
Well, they definitely play on that. They want you to think that.
Right, absolutely.
But that's a pretty elaborate 3-day-long imagination.
Well, but that's what I mean. I mean, that's why there's things in this movie that it plays fast and loose with reality.
Yes.
Not just the reality of movie making as opposed to real life, but in terms of the plot and the character development and things like that. So what are some of the things about the film? Like I always have loved this movie. Every time I see it, I love more and more about it. I mean, there's always something to see in this movie and the way it's directed and things like that. But what are some of the things that struck you the most about this film? I mean, it strikes on one hand, it's humorous, it's romantic, like you already said, but it changes tone a lot. And how did you feel about the relationship between Steve Railsback and Peter O'Toole? How it developed over the movie?
I mean, I liked it. I thought it was interesting. I mean, you want to like this director because he's so crazy and so into his movie. But then you see it from the other side and you think, well, maybe he really is trying to kill this guy just to get it on film or whatever because he's that crazy. So yeah, it's interesting and the way it builds. It's, yeah.
Well, what else? Tell me more about what are some of the other things that struck you about the film?
I'd have to watch it again. I feel like we were streaming it, so the sound wasn't very well, and I know that I was missing some of the dialogue, so I definitely would want to see it again.
Well, yeah, but you know, you must have more. I mean, we got to whine more about this movie, like why? Because I could wax poetic about this movie.
Well, tell me what you think of this movie.
Well, I mean, one of the things about the film is the movie that they're making is an anti-war film about World War I. And it ultimately, I believe it's a tragedy because the main character eventually does die, like marries the girl and die. You see that dies.
Who dies?
The main character of the movie they're making, because she was at a funeral at the end.
Oh,
like
right.
You never really know.
Right. Okay.
What's going on in the movie is never really completely established. You kind of get the basic bare bones that he's a flyer and he's in World War I and he falls in love and all that, but you don't really know. But the idea that he's making this, the Peter O'Toole is constantly talking about the madness of war and he wants to inject. I mean, there's a scene in an insane asylum. Like you're getting snippets of the movie that they're making.
Right, but you never understand the whole story of that movie.
No, you never understand. And the question I have for you is, does it matter?
No.
Does it really? Aside from the fact that what I always liked about the film is that Peter O'Toole's trying to make a movie about the insanity of war, and here's a man who's been through a war, and he's constantly referring back to his experiences in Vietnam.
Right.
And Peter O'Toole's constantly saying to his writer, you see, you know, there's a moment in the movie where the character is on the wing of an airplane.
Yes.
And the scene is, well, what would you do? And Steve Railsback says, well, I don't know. I'd dance. I might do a jig. And then Peter O'Toole's like, yes,
and
that's what we're going to do. And he puts that in the movie. And the writer's constantly like, God damn it. You're always making me rewrite this based on what this guy says. So Peter O'Toole is really, really incorporating Steve Railsback as his experience of the war and the insanity that he's experienced has really tried to. So there is this weird symbiotic relationship between the two of them. It's both a practical, it happens in real life, and it also happens artistically. And I always thought that was really interesting about this film is that you're constantly seeing Peter O'Toole and him go back and forth. Like his paranoia about being killed or whatever he thinks is feeding into his experience. But Peter O'Toole's looking at this guy going, you're the one that's nuts and you're suffering from PTSD. And I don't even know why the cops were after you, but I want to put whatever that is in my movie.
Yes.
So did you, I mean, what are your thoughts about that? I mean, in terms of that relationship that developed. I mean, did you?
Yeah, there were many moments where he was like picking his brain and trying to figure out what about being in combat, being in war, that he could infuse into his film.
I mean, did you like the way their relationship? What I love about this movie is at any one moment, he'll just swoop in with his crane. He's always on his crane or his helicopter.
Yeah.
But the crane, it takes him all wherever.
Like, do they really do that?
Well, not really. I mean, they have cranes, but it's not like a director is using a crane.
On it. He's like
swinging in no matter.
Having conversations with him and like following him around.
Step right up, folks, to Eli's killer crane. I mean, but it's interesting because the way they put. I mean, I think one of the reasons I wanted to make movies is because I was so enamored of that character, Eli Cross, and then the character of Joe Gideon from All That Jazz, who was also a director. I loved. They always seem like these mystical. Peter O'Toole's like the Gandalf, like he's the Gandalf of movie directors in this, and he's always going like, talking about illusion and reality, and how if God could do the things we could do, he'd be a happy man. How tall? And Peter O'Toole teaches Steve Railsback that how he explains that metaphorically, how tall is King Kong?
Right.
And he says King Kong is 3'6". And that's when he says, and if God could, I will make you believe. The whole thing about movie making is, and he will.
Yes.
Eli Cross will make you believe.
Yeah.
So how did you feel about the way Hollywood and movie making and reality, how it all played into
It was interesting to see how, of course this is not how a real film is made, but I mean there were elements that probably were very realistic. It was fun watching the stunts, especially on the roof.
And they were great stunts.
Yeah, it just like kept going and going. Like he kept going from roof to roof and then ends up like rolling into somebody's bed and then they're taking off all his clothes. Like it just kept going and going. So there were elements of like comedy and
surrealism.
Yes, it was a very interesting film.
Now, did you buy the romance of Nina and Steve Railsback's character?
Yeah, totally.
That she fell in love with him so quickly?
Yes, because she's an actress, so
Oh, I know. So that did you like the romantic nature of their relationship?
I did. But there were moments where I was like, is this real or not?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're constantly wondering. I mean, the gamesmanship and what's...
Yeah.
Roger Ebert didn't like this movie very much because he said the movie was all about the game playing. And I never felt that way. I mean, even as a kid...
The game playing between
the whole movie's just like this sly trick. It was like too cool for school or something. I never felt that way. I mean, I always thought that...
But that's what makes the film fun.
Right. Exactly.
You're trying to figure out what's happening, what's really happening. Yeah.
Well, and how did you feel about, like, it's all leading up to this, they're going to recreate the stunt from the beginning of the movie.
Right.
That the car is going to go back into the water again because they didn't get all the shots they needed.
Right.
So it's all leading up to whether or not Peter O'Toole's really going to kill him.
Right. And that makes you think, like, maybe he is trying to kill him.
Right.
If he's going to make him do that again to go drive the car over the bridge. I don't know.
So you didn't know, but did you really think that his life was ever in danger at any point?
I wondered.
So you did?
Yeah.
Did you like Peter O'Toole's character?
I did.
What made you, why did you respond to him that way?
I don't know. He was just like so over the top and crazy. Like the only thing that mattered was getting the shots.
That's all that does matter. Nothing else matters.
And he was willing to do anything to get shots. So that's what makes you think like, oh, well, maybe he is trying to kill him so he can get shots of this guy dying. So I don't know. They lead you to believe that it's possible.
Right. That's the whole point. And you do believe it because Steve Railsback believes it. He thinks that...
Yeah, because there's even a scene where Nina's parents show up on set and he's showing them dailies and accidentally slips in a sex scene where she's naked and everything and her parents are sitting there and her little sister, and he shows them this scene and he's like, oops, how did that get in there? And then later on in the day, they're watching her do her scene. They're
watching her shoot a scene where she's playing the old woman from the makeup at the beginning.
Right.
And she's at the funeral of presumably the main character of the film.
Yeah. And she's feeling nervous and she's like, I want to tell my parents to leave because I'm feeling nervous. I don't want them watching. And then the director's like, well, something happened earlier today and they accidentally saw your sex scene.
The bare ass scene, he says.
And then she's just mortified. And of course she starts crying.
And then under his breath, he's like, roll film.
So he did it. He manipulated it.
Like any good director.
So that he could get her to be really emotional.
And another great moment where you see her and they slide in the background of the World War I background. And as she's crying and working up the tears, he's completely manipulated. So I admired that. I was like, when I watched this film as a kid, I'm like, I want to be that guy.
I'm sure that happens.
Oh, it happens. I mean, I don't know if I would ever show an actress's parents a sex scene.
Yeah, that's so wrong.
But it was this, it was the 80. It was 1980. They shot it in the 70s. People could get away with that. So how did you feel about the actors? Did you like the performances?
I loved the performances. I thought they were great. I thought Peter O'Toole, of course, was amazing, and
Steve Railsback as our Lucky. They end up naming him Lucky. You don't ever really know his name.
Cameron.
Oh, that's right.
His name is
You
Cameron.
find out Cameron. Yes, you find out his name's Cameron.
Right, but they call him Lucky.
They call him Lucky.
And he was great because you really felt like he was unsure and nervous and paranoid about the whole thing. Yeah, he did a great job. And
Bert's the name of the stunt man that died.
Right.
Bert. We'll call you Bert. So with the film, like, ultimately, what do you think this movie has to say about movie making?
That the most important thing is getting the shots.
But do you believe that? Do you believe? I mean, it has more than that. I mean, art reflecting life. I mean, it has more to say than that, doesn't it?
Well, you tell me.
I don't. I'm asking you. This is your show, Elizabeth Views. I'm asking you these questions.
Well.
So, what did you think? Like, how did you feel about the nature of, like it's very interesting. This movie does have a lot to say where that filmmaking is really high art, and that's that Peter O'Toole is being portrayed as a true artist. I mean, he really, and everybody around him believes that.
Right. They all love him. They think he's a great director, and they want to please him.
Do you think that his methodology is sound? That what he does is okay? The way he manipulates people, the way he bends the truth, the way he might... I mean, did you think it was... he basically... A guy died on his set, and he wants to cover it up. So it's not exactly like he's the most sympathetic man in the world.
Yeah, no. That's not right.
But then you still like him.
Well, yeah, because he's crazy.
But what does that absolve him of the guilt of losing a man?
No, I mean, of course not. Well, I kept expecting the guy to show up because he was not found.
Right. Well, he wasn't found. But they do.
I think he's alive.
No, he was swept away. He died because the glass was cracked. The water, when it hit the water, rushed in. He probably drowned and was swept away, and so he tried to get out and didn't make it.
Well, he did get out somehow because he wasn't in the car.
He wasn't in the car. He got swept away.
I think he's alive.
Well, okay, so...
See, that makes me feel better about the director.
Oh.
Thinking that guy survived. I wish they had shown him alive.
But no, because if he was alive, he would have come back and they would have put him back on the movie.
No, but like after the filming, like let's say he had amnesia or he ended up, needing time to recover, and so didn't show up until like a week later. I don't know.
I don't think that's what the movie's really about. That's just me, though.
I just like to think that. That makes me feel better.
All right, well, and so tell me more. Like, ultimately, overall, like, if you were going to tell your mom that we watched this movie, what would you tell your mom about this film?
I think my mom would enjoy this film. I think she
really?
Would. Yeah, she likes...
No, your mom's a cineast. She likes movies.
She does like movies. I think she would enjoy this. I wonder if she's seen it. I don't know. I was 8 when it came out.
I was older than that. I was older than 8.
I was 8.
I love the music in this movie. Dominic Frontiere.
I have to say, in the first few scenes, the music confused me. Because it felt so comical, and I didn't feel like it was a comedy.
There is comical music in this.
So, but as the film went on, then I understood more the choice of music. But at first I was like, this is very like...
There is a lot of that. I mean, even the beginning, the whole opening of the movie with the dog licking his balls, and you see Peter O'Toole flings an apple out of the helicopter. Right. It lands on the hood of the police car, and I mean, it really and the music starts out. You've got clapperboard sounds over this music where it's almost like it feels like you're watching a movie about like the Roaring Twenties or something.
Right.
It's got a very circus carnival atmosphere, and then Dusty Springfield sings a song in this movie. I love this score. Like when I was a kid, I got this soundtrack when it first came out, and I listened to this album a million times. You know, and they use the same. They redo the same piece of music in different ways throughout the film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely comedic. There's a lot of funny stuff in here.
There is.
So, how did you feel about the reveal about what Cameron actually did?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't wait to know, like, what did he do? And I kept asking you, what did he do?
I'm not going to tell you.
And I kept saying, like, are they going to tell us what he did? And you're like, just watch the movie, which is what you always say to me. Just watch the movie. That's called plot.
I do say that a lot.
I just wanted to know if they were going to tell us.
Well, yeah, but
and they do.
They tell you.
They
we shouldn't tell them what it is because it's a pretty good reveal.
I think we just like told them the whole movie anyway.
Well, you know, there's some things that are sacrosanct.
Okay.
All right. Well, so we're at the we've got a letter.
Yes, we do. We have a letter.
Do you want to read this letter?
I don't have my glasses, so.
Oh, so I have to put my glasses on and read it? All right. Okay, this is from a longtime imagination connoisseur, and her name is Vesna.
Yes.
And now, is it Lukic? Lukic. Vesna Lukic, who lives in Sarajevo. And she's one of the great supporters of this channel. She's been around from the very beginning almost, Vesna, and she has written a letter. Our second letter. Are you excited about our second letter? A letter for Elizabeth. Hello, Elizabeth and Robert. Sorry, Rob, but this is Elizabeth's show, so she should be addressed first. You're just a co-host.
Yes.
First, I have to say that I'm sorry I can't watch you two guys live because I've been in isolation except eating. Some of us who are not so lucky, all we can do during the night is sleeping. But I watch you always after my first morning coffee. At the time being, this is the only way I can participate in your discussion.
Aww.
I love all the movies which were your previous choices. Yes, even The Sound of Music.
Yay.
Hey, I'm a convert. I like The Sound of Music. Although I'm not a big fan of musicals. There are only a few of them that I really like. Like Cats. Just kidding. Rob, in one of the previous episodes of WINEning, I heard you mention one of the Yugoslavian movies from 1985. The real name of it is Ball as a Dance on the Water. I can't even say how and why the American translation is the way it is. I can't either. It's a song title. Which was our translation of a movie with Esther Williams, Bathing Beauty from 1944, which I can also recommend. Also, one of our most expensive movies, and the biggest project at the time, in 1973, is a movie called Battle of Sujetska? How do you say that?
I can't see it.
It was our version of Saving Private Ryan, but made 25 years before, and it's based on the true story, where the whole purpose of the battle was to save wounded people during World War II. Anyway, listen to this cast. Richard Burton was playing our partisan leader, Tito, and Orson Welles as Churchill, along with some famous German actors at the time, and our top actors also. Talking about Richard Burton, there is one movie which is not that well known, even if his co-star is Liz Taylor, and it's also from 1973. It's called Divorce His, Divorce Her. The romantic drama about a divorce of a couple who were married for 18 years, but it's told from his point of view and also her point of view on the reason and the why they are handling it. If you liked Marriage Story, you would love this. The only thing that can be an obstacle is the length, 2.5 hours. Pshaw, that's not an obstacle. But it's because it was primarily made for TV as a two-part of one movie. The second movie I really love is Rebecca from 1940. I own that on Blu-ray. The only thing I should say is that it's Hitchcock's movie, and it would be enough. By the way, I would like to hear Elizabeth's list of top 5 movies.
Oh.
And a question for you both. How the two of you met Elizabeth, and what was your first impression of Robert? For him, I already know. He was swept away immediately. That's all for now. Keep the good work up, and may we all celebrate the first 100 episodes about whining about movies waving from the other side of the ocean. Vesna. All right. Well, what are your
Hey.
top 5 movies?
Oh, well, of course, my number one top movie is Amelie.
Amelie's your number one movie, which is why we met.
Yes,
Kind
it
of.
is. Yes, that is how we met.
How do we meet?
Well, okay, so we were on a dating app,
Which one?
OkCupid,
Okay, Cupid.
and I had written about Amelie in my profile.
Yes, you had.
And several other movies, but mainly Amelie. And so
By the way, no, we had a 96% match.
we did. So on OkCupid, you answer a bunch of questions, and then a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
And then they give you a percentage of your match.
Yes, and we were 96%.
Yeah, and so then you messaged me, and you talked about Shawshank Redemption and some other movies. And oh wait, you said I reminded you of, what was the '80s movie?
I don't know.
Oh.
80s movie. I don't know.
Anyway, so yeah, that's how we met. Because of Amelie.
And what did you wrote me back?
I did write you back.
And we had one date, and then you left.
Yeah, we had one date.
I took you to a pre-Comic-Con party.
Yeah, it was the night before I was flying with my kids to France.
For a month.
We were gone for 3 weeks.
And I had my... Oh, no, you got back before I went to my 30th high school reunion.
That's right. Right after that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had one date. You took me to a pre-Comic-Con party.
Come on, it was a rad party.
It was pretty cool.
I know, right? It was at where was it? The Sofitel?
Yeah, Sofitel Hotel.
Sofitel Hotel?
Yeah. And then when I was in France, we texted a lot, and you would send me little voice memo
Oh, that's right.
every day.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It was fun.
Yeah. So there you go. Now, Amelie, what other movies do you love?
Wow. I don't know. Could you rattle off 5 films off the top of your head?
Come on, man.
Your top 5?
My top 5, yeah. The Godfather, A Clockwork Orange, All That Jazz, All About Eve. I mean, I could rattle them off.
Okay.
Sunset Boulevard, Almost Famous, the director's cut.
Oh man, see, there's so many I love.
I could rattle off the thousands of movies I have on Blu-ray. I could sit there and
no, but your top 5. No, I'm not talking about any
the top
movie.
5 shift. Godfather is one of my favorite movies. Clockwork Orange is one of my favorite movies. All About Eve is one of my favorite movies. All That Jazz is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah. I guess I have a lot of movies that are equally loved.
That's okay. Yeah, equally love's good.
I'd have to think about that. Maybe in the next episode I will give you a 5
Yeah, you
top
better.
list.
So wait, we got some chats in here. In the Mood for Rob sent in a tip and said, I hope you keep doing this show when things go back to normal. I enjoy this a lot more than Robservations. What? What? Sorry, Elizabeth, have you seen Day for Night?
No,
You should pick the movie once a week.
I should. Day for Night, what's that?
Well, it's a true film.
Okay.
You'll have to see
Is
it.
it something I would like?
You would like that. You would
We
like
should
Day
see
for
it
Night.
then.
Well, we're gonna watch La Dolce Vita next.
Oh, is that the next movie?
That's a Fellini film.
Okay.
I figured that would be a good follow-up for the Stunt Man.
Okay.
Although Day for Night could be too. Maybe we'll watch both of those.
Well, for 2 different episodes.
Yeah, for 2 different episodes. But La Dolce Vita, Federico Fellini's La Dolce Vita is our next movie.
Okay, awesome.
So, so there we go. Hang on a second. Echo Base Network. Echo Base Network says, best for you to watch, our documentary, laugh out loud. Well, Echo Base, we haven't moved up to documentaries yet, but we could.
I love documentaries.
I know, and I'm in their documentary, so why not? Kaz Graphics sent us a generous super chat and just said, cheers. You know what that means.
Yes,
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to Kaz Graphics.
Yep. Plug.
I think we're going to have 2 bottles of wine.
No.
I know. Ian sent in a super chat and
Only
said,
if we do karaoke. Then we need 2 bottles
I'll
of wine.
do karaoke. Love the film and was happy to see Rush, O'Toole, and Frontieri nominated at the Oscars. And how about Richard Rush's follow-up, Color of Night? Ian, we're actually looking at this camera. Let me tell you about that. A lot of people malign Color of Night. First of all, let me give a shout-out, to Kino Lorber, for putting out Color of Night on home video on Blu-ray. And there's two versions, as we know. There's the butchered theatrical version, and there's Richard Rush's director's cut, his real version. I think it's like a Giallo movie, an Italian Giallo movie. It's like an Argento film, kind of. That's the way I always thought about it. But what's awesome about Color of Night, no, not the fact that you see Bruce Willis's penis.
Oh.
What's awesome about Color of Night, yeah, see, Vesna's like, really? What's awesome is the Color of Night Blu-ray has an absolutely bonkers commentary from Richard Rush. And he was 89 years old when he recorded the commentary. It's amazing. And if you have get it. I wholeheartedly recommend getting the Color of Night Blu-ray to get the director's cut, it came out on Laserdisc as well. But for that commentary, it's amazing. Throgamish show enough. I think he was making a reference to Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon there. Elizabeth, was the movie My Tutor from 1983? Rob seems like he might have needed a tutor.
I haven't seen My Tutor. Is it
Well,
good?
I don't know if you could say it's good, but it's certainly interesting. I didn't need a tutor. I read a lot of books. Just saying.
Maybe in math.
Oh, in math, I need a tutor, yeah. I never got the kind of tutor in My Tutor in math, though.
Oh, boy.
Odai Al-Yamani? What a cool name. Odai Al-Yamani. Starring Odai Al-Yamani. That is a fantastic name. Well, we're in quarantine. Might as well send in my first letter soon. Please do.
Oh, yes.
I hope you and your family stay well and healthy. I love this Elizaview series. There you go.
Thank you.
I love.
Thank
Well,
you.
Odai Alya. Is it Al-Yamani? Is that Al-Yamani? Such a cool name.
Very cool name.
It's a very cool. Odai Al-Yamani. Barry Nolan sends in a super chat. Ooh, would De Palma's Body Double be in the same category as a stuntman? That is a very interesting question. You know, I don't think you've seen Body Double.
No.
Would it surprise you to know I do have it on Blu-ray.
I'm so surprised.
We could be watching Blu-ray.
Wait, do you have like 3 versions of it?
I have.
Go ahead.
I have 2 versions of Body Double.
See?
I have the Twilight Time Body Double, and I have the Indicator out of the UK. Yes, I have 2 You busted me. I'm busted. I am busted. Yes, I have 2 versions. How'd you know me that? You know me so well.
I know you so well.
Well, okay. To be fair, I am a fan of Brian De Palma's Body Double because one of my favorite bands, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, actually appears in it as themselves.
Oh, that's cool.
Singing "Relax," and
Don't do it.
Brian De Palma. I did do it.
Relax.
I know, but I
Don't
did
do
do
it.
it. Anyway, so Body Double. That's actually a very good. Body Double does have a movie making component in it. One of the characters in it is an act. There is. It's very interesting. I never thought about that before. Body Double would make an interesting double bill with the Stunt Man. It would make.
Well, maybe that'll be our fourth.
And it's got a great Pino Donaggio score
for our
as well.
4th film.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Yeah, Body Double is, although when Body Double came out, it was notorious because it had a very gruesome scene in it that the movie was attacked as being very misogynistic.
Oh.
It's not, you could handle it.
Yeah.
You could handle it. But yeah, good call on that one, Rory. I'm a fan of Body Double. Of course, that was peak De Palma. I want to say that was 85. I think that came out when I was a senior in high school. I think it was 85. I took a bunch of people. I got passes to a screening of that. It might have been 84, but I want to say it was 85. Maybe it was 84. But I like Body Double a lot. I thought it was great, and it has a great score. But yeah, we'll have to check that out. Let's see. Danny Chadwick sends in a super chat and said, "I recommend the 10 Commandments for the show."
I used to watch that every time they would have it on TV when I was a kid.
Roy, that movie is 4 hours long. That's what Terry Garr said in Close Encounters. We've seen it though.
So many. I've seen it many times.
I mean, even though it's about one of the great Jews, Moses. You know, I mean, I'm all about it, but we've seen it. We've got to watch movies that you haven't seen. That's the fun.
Although, if we do viewer's choice, we're going to be watching movies. We won't know if we've seen it or not.
I'll know. We are opening this up. We are asking people to write in and suggest a film.
Right.
So if you want to write, you can write to theburnettwork.net. Go to the website, and you can write.
Well, we should do a poll because there'll be so many suggestions.
Well, okay. You know what? You know what we'll have to do? Maybe just let the Richard take care of it.
I think the Richard could take care of it.
Go to either the Post-Geek Singularity Facebook page or the Whining About Movies Facebook page and contact the Richard and throw your suggestions in. And the Richard will have to figure it out.
I'm sure he'll know how to... He's done polls before.
Yeah. He'll have to pick like the top 5. I think that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Well, but that's why, Danny, it's not that 10 Commandments isn't great. It's just that we've both seen it a lot.
Right.
You know? And that we have to watch movies that either one of us haven't seen.
Right.
Because that's kind of the premise of the show. But by the way, would it surprise you to know that I own the 10 Commandments on Blu-ray?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you only have one version.
I only have one version of that.
See, I know.
I don't have 10. I could have 10. T. Kane sent in a super chat and said, "Cheers, Rob and Elizabeth. Cheers."
Cheers.
Oh.
Cheers.
Well, here's to you, T. Kane. Cheers to that. I recently saw the Japanese horror movie Audition. I was blown away. Why can't American studios follow this way? I showed you Audition.
Which one was that one?
About the guy that's auditioning.
One? Yeah. Oh my God, that was so creepy. Oh, that was a freaky movie. Wow, that was
And I have 2 copies of that on Blu-ray. I have
Of course you do.
I have this
that was...
Arrow version, and then I have the original American domestic release.
That was wow.
That was fantastic, right?
Oh yeah, that was messed up.
Why can't American studios follow this way? You know, it's interesting. I think that Audition is a film that is, I mean, it's disturbing on a number of levels, but I think that when I think American horror is sort of moribund right now in that when I see something like a Get Out, I'm like, ooh, we're going to see interesting horror movies, but then Jordan Peele makes an Us, and I'm like, what is this? And now he's producing a remake of Candyman. I think America is really missing out on transgressive horror, and I would like to see more of that. And the movie that I'm most looking forward to as far as the horror genre is concerned is David Cronenberg's son, Brandon, has a new movie coming out called Possessor that was just picked up. It blew away everybody at the Sundance Film Festival, I guess. And it sounds incredible. It's supposed to be really hardcore, and I'm looking forward to that. He made a very interesting movie called Antiviral that is very, very weird, but I would wholeheartedly recommend that film. It's great, but I can't wait to see Possessor. But yeah, I think that, how many more ghost movies do we have to see? I think real transgressive horror has been missing from American cinema for a while.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a lot of groundbreaking modern horror, and it's sort of disappointing. I mean, I still love horror films. There's still some great stuff. Like, look, Karen Kusama's The Invitation, which I have sitting right over there. Love that movie. I mean, there's been some great stuff. I'm not saying that there's nothing, but yeah. Boobs McGurkus Craig Wasson. That would be a reference to Body Double and perhaps Circus McGurkus from Mercer Island. Rob, come on, dude. We all watched Body Double at least once when it was scrambled signal on Skinamax late night. No, no, no. I went and saw it in the theater, man. I went and saw it in the theater. I took a lot of my friends, too. I had the hookup back when I was in high school in Seattle. I could get screening passes to any movie. But, yeah, you know, it was... I understand. I mean, the movie does... Part of the plot is Craig Wasson using a telescope to watch a movie... watch a woman masturbate every night with diamonds.
Diamonds?
Hey, I didn't make the movie. I'm just telling you.
Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
They are. Crosstalks sent in a tip and said, just a thought of the kind of movies you guys are watching. Perhaps Requiem for a Dream or Salesman. The Maisels Salesman was just announced for Criterion Blu-ray, and I will be buying that. And that's a good call. Requiem for a Dream I love, but man, it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant, although it's got, you know, Jennifer Connelly, woo boy, in that movie. They're all heroin addicts. And it's not exactly the most pleasant film in the world, but it's very well done. Ellen Burstyn's in it. It's a horror movie. A lot of people might not call it a horror movie. It's straight up a horror movie. And that, you know what, Crosstalk, you're right. It does have that transgressive vibe to it. It's not exactly the most pleasant movie in the world, I would say. But it's I don't know if I would show you Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah. Why not?
Well, because it's not it's a great movie, but even I was depressed when I walked out of seeing it in the theater.
But I like depressing movies.
Yeah, but it's not depressing in a good way.
Oh.
There's good depressing, there's bad depressing. This is about the addiction and the destruction that heroin and what they do to poor Jennifer Connelly in it. I mean, she starts basically turning tricks for smack. There's a scene that's pretty rough with her.
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, it's tough. So now let me ask you, on our bottoms up scale.
Is there any more wine?
No.
Oh, I finished my
Yeah,
glass.
you sucked it all down, babe.
Oh.
I mean, look, you know, we don't do any day drinking in this house.
No.
We don't. I mean, we actually save up our alcoholic intake for these shows, really.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, we could be drinking every night, but we don't.
Well, it's probably not a good idea to drink every night.
I know, I read an article about that today.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Whatever.
No, I mean, I got too much work to do anyway. Speaking about transgressive horror movies, I have The Hills Run Red.
Yep, you gotta get that done.
I know. I have to get that done.
Get her done.
I'm getting her done. Would you like a sip of my wine?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I don't want coronavirus.
Really?
Just teasing.
Oh, come on. So, the Stunt Man, we have to give the Elizaviews bottoms up scale.
Yes. Okay. So I would give this.
The bottoms up scale for Elizaviews is 1 to 4 glasses of wine.
Yes, 1 to 4, because there are 4 glasses of wine in a bottle.
4 glasses of wine in a bottle, and the bottoms up scale is this.
Mine is already bottoms up.
So, on a scale of 1 to 4 glasses of wine, what does the Stunt Man?
I would give this 3 glasses of wine.
3 glasses of wine. See, for me, it's a 3.5 glass of wine movie. I love this movie, but I can't give it a 4-star. I can't give it 4 stars because I know it was made on a lower budget. It was not exactly a studio picture, and there's a lot of there's some rough edges to it. The sound mix is one of them.
Yeah, the sound, that's the only reason. The sound was, I couldn't understand.
No, it's a little murky. I mean,
couldn't understand part of the dialogue, and that bothered me. It frustrated me because I really wanted to hear what was going on.
Right. No, I totally understand that. Would you recommend this film to people?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend this film.
What would you tell people
It's
about?
fun. It's fun and weird and quirky, which is the kind of movie I like.
Fun and weird and quirky, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's fun and weird and quirky here. I know you. I'll switch back to our 2-shot. So now we're 11 movies into Elizaviews that I roped you into doing.
Yes.
So how do you feel about this ongoing show, and what's it like for you to be on YouTube?
It's fun. I was nervous at first, the first few episodes.
Why don't you tell everybody what your favorite thing is after we do these shows?
What?
About the live chat.
Oh, yeah. I go back and I read the live chat. So I'm reading what you guys are writing.
And, you like watch. Tell me, 3 or 4 times probably.
No. I just like to read the live chat. That's why I watch it, to read the live chat.
So I never do that.
I do that because I'm usually lurking in your live chat
Right
during the day, and so I feel like I know these people, so I love to see what they're saying. So then I go back and I read the live chat.
Are you happy about your reception? Do you feel that Elizaviews whining about movies has been well received by the audience?
They like me. They really like me.
Do you know who actually said that?
Yes, Sally Field.
Oh, very good. Oh, nice. Very, very nice. So, what have you learned being on YouTube for these 11 episodes? 11 hours. You now have 11 hours of YouTube experience. You've been Robcasting from the Robservatory for 11 hours. How do you feel about it? Like,
it's fun. It's fun to watch movies. I mean, we watched movies before, but then we kind of slacked off and was watching a lot of like Netflix, and you love to watch like YouTube clips. And so it's nice to get back to watching movies.
It is nice to get back to watching movies. Well, I would watch more, but
But this like makes us watch movies. When we were first dating, you were showing me all kinds of movies.
Yeah, why don't you tell people how I did that? What did I do when we first dated?
You would curate and you would bring over movies that you wanted me to see. And
stacks.
Yeah, stacks of movies, and we would watch a lot of movies.
We did watch a lot of movies. I mean, I would bring over like 10 at a time.
Yeah.
And we'd work our way through the 10.
Yes, we would. And that was fun.
It was fun.
And you were thoughtful about it because you really thought about which movies you wanted to show me. And it feels like that. Like we're harking back to our
courtship.
Yes. The first few couple years.
Going back to that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Even though you make fun of my movie collection when I have more than one copy of a film. Like,
I
why
just
do you
don't
have more than
understand
one
why
copy?
you have to have more than one copy of a movie.
I've tried to explain.
It's the same movie.
Sometimes there's different special features. Sometimes there's new transfers. It's true. It's important. I know it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter to most people. It matters to me. Zolly Becker would understand.
He doesn't watch this show, so.
You never know. Zolly Becker's everywhere. He might watch the show.
I don't think so.
Oh, you never know. Yeah. So how do you feel about me, like, acquiring stuff like this? The Skywalker box set there. Because I don't know how many, like, if you're upset about many copies of, there's 2 copies of each Star Wars movie in that box. Yeah. There's one in 4K and one on Blu-ray.
Well, I mean, I can understand you want a whole set of them all together. But the thing is,
I don't have them in 4K.
You already have all of those movies.
But not in 4K.
Okay, but our TV's not even 4K.
Right, but...
So it doesn't matter.
It does matter.
Our TV's not 4K.
Well, there's upscaling.
When are we ever going to get a 4K TV?
I can't get the Panasonic I want.
Why does it have to be Panasonic? There are plenty of
I want a Panasonic OLED set, and it's got to be at least 77 inches, and you can't get it domestically.
I'm sure there are other.
And our room isn't big enough for a projector.
Our room is pretty big.
You're not for a projector. There's not enough throw.
Why do we need a projector? Let's just get a really ginormous TV.
Yeah, that's what I want to get. A Panasonic OLED TV. That's the best. I know. People say, like, I understand LG makes all the OLED, but Panasonic has the best electronics. They drive the OLED screens the best. That's my favorite. They bought Pioneer Technology. I'm only Panasonic. That's it.
Well,
they don't make Panasonic 77-inch or bigger OLED TVs.
How about you don't buy movies unless they come out in 4K?
I'm not buying any more movies, really, pretty much.
That's what you want.
Except Criterion's. Anyway, this is a personal thing.
You brought it up.
Look, man, T. Kane sent in a super chat, says, cheers again, Rob and Elizabeth. Oh, well, cheers to you. Cheers to you. Rob, not sure if you liked Joy Division or not. Have you seen Control by Anton Corbijn? Come on, man. She's lost control. I love Joy Division. As a matter of fact, if you haven't seen this, we didn't finish it. 24-Hour Party People. If you watch 24-Hour Party People, it is Steve Coogan plays the founder of Factory Records who put out Joy Division and New Order. You've got to watch it. And Joy Division is in it, and Andy Serkis is in it in a great role. Happy Mondays is in it. I'm a huge Joy Division fan, a huge New Order fan, and yes, I'm a big fan. And Control, Control was good, but not as good as I wanted it to be. But yeah, that's not a bad call. Throgs Alive says, time to bump this bad boy show to 3.5 hours every 12 hours. No, we can't do that.
Oh.
We can't do that.
We'd have to watch more than one movie.
Oh, man. Echo Base Network sends in another super chat. Those Star Wars movies are not true 4K. There's a great video by Retro Blasting about it. I know. I read it. What, Rob? You don't have a 4K TV?
Nope.
Here's some extra to go towards it. Cheers to you guys.
Aw, thank you.
Listen, I had a little 4K TV, a 50-inch 4K TV that was ridiculous. It was given to me. It's here. Screw that. I need a big 4K TV. Having a 50-inch 4K TV is ridiculous. I will not replace my Panasonic Plasma until I get a larger 4K set or a projector. Because who cares
I
about...
don't trust the projectors.
They're awesome. Come on.
I don't know.
What you need is the screen, and we don't have our environment.
I still don't trust the projector.
So the 12K, the 12K, the 4K set I want's $10,000, which is problematic.
That is a problem.
It's problematic, and so I'm a snob when it comes to screens. I love my screen. Tell them how great my screen is. It was the last Plasma Panasonic produced.
Yeah, it's great. It's very large.
No, but it's perfectly calibrated.
Sure.
It looks. Come on, man. Why don't you?
Well, I've had you adjust it because it was a little dark.
Well, no. What you pointed out was it was a little dark and it was the wrong input. I had plugged in the wrong, and you were correct. You were correct. Now we're on the right input.
I know colors, so.
Yes, and that tell them how perfectly calibrated it is.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
It could be a 4K though. That would be even better.
Look, I don't want a 4K TV unless it's big. I mean, I do want a 4K, but it's...
Oh, it has to be as big or bigger.
It has to be... I don't need a 65-inch. I need bigger. I need 77, preferably even bigger.
I mean, I like the size we have.
It's not big enough. It's fine.
It can be that big or bigger.
Yeah. It's true. Maybe. I want Panasonic. I will not compromise on this.
What? Who cares?
I have a lot of 4K discs, though.
Yes. But no 4K TV.
It's a small one. Can't do it. Can't do it. Gotta have a bigger one. Size matters not. Look at me. Judge me. Yes, I judge you by your size, do you? Anyway, so look, the time has come.
Oh, is it that time already?
It's that time already. So I want to thank everyone for what show is this again?
Elizabeth.
You're supposed to jump in and go
Elizabeth whining about movies.
And you are host. What is your name?
Elizabeth Bell.
And what do you want to thank everybody for?
Thanks for watching.
And
Whiners.
supporting the show, WINEers.
Yes, and supporting the show and watching movies with us.
And tell them to where they can write letters.
Write letters to the Burnettwork.
.net.
Right there. And send videos.
Yes, send videos.
And we got one more super chat.
Oh. Wow, Throg. I love Throg has a different name every time. I think Elizabeth is about to fall out of a chair at the mention of $10,000 TV.
Yes.
By the way.
Yeah, we're just trying to survive at this point.
Back in the mid... Yeah, it's true. We have no money. I mean, the idea of... And
but everyone, we have lots of movies.
We have lots of movies, yeah. But that's the thing. Everyone's like, sell your hot toys. No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Who wants to buy hot toys?
Why do I have to do that? Like we're not there yet. I'm still working, come on. Unbelievable. Echo Base Network says, shout out to the Richard for the great watch parties. Oh, tell people about the watch parties.
So Richard puts on these watch parties.
The Richard
puts on watch parties not only for whining about movies. He'll put on the movie that we're going to discuss.
Right.
But he also, on the Post-Geek Singularity page, will put on watch parties like 24 hours. I think it's 24 hours. It seems like it. But there's always something playing.
Well, people have asked to do a watch party of Free Enterprise.
Oh, that would be so fun.
And it'd be fun if you bagged on me.
Yes.
Like while we watched Free Enterprise.
Absolutely.
And I have
a lot to say about that movie.
I have been doing I want to do a 4K version of it, but I have a widescreen version I've made where I've done some editing on it. Maybe I could do a world premiere of it or something. But
really?
yes. Yeah. Yeah. I haven't shown to anybody. I was just playing with. I reframed the entire film because I want it to be.
Was this
widescreen.
Recently?
No. Well, I started about 3 years ago. It's in the computer.
You never told me that.
Well, it's just something I was doing for fun in anticipation of being able to do a new transfer.
Oh.
So, because I want to I've got plans. Anyway, we're going to end this show. We want to thank everybody for the support of the channel. Please please subscribe to Robservations if you so desire. I want to thank my great moderating staff, beginning with Mike Bodden. We go on to, of course, the Detective Jim Boyers, who finally decided to watch subtitled movies. Thank God he did.
He watched The Train to Busan.
He watched Train to Busan. He did, which all of you should watch too. Greg Smith, the great Greg Smith, my old friend Greg Smith, and also Jordy Lyons, and of course Louis Yu, who is in the chat today. I will be back tomorrow on the John Campea Show, and also in the afternoon for Robservations episode number 385, bringing us 15 away from episode 400. So I want to thank all of you and all the letters and everything you guys have been doing. It's been fantastic. Thank you very, very much. And as we always say, what?
Have a better night.
No. Every person you meet.
I thought we were to that part.
No, we weren't to that part yet. Every person you meet, what?
Has a story to tell.
That what?
That all you have to do is listen.
No, that you haven't heard.
I always skip that part.
Okay, come on, babe.
Sorry.
Okay. Every person you meet has a story to tell you have yet to hear. And all you have to do
is listen.
All right. And with that, we then say, what do we say?
Have a better night.
Have a better night.
Stay safe.
Stay safe. See you Wednesday. La Dolce Vita. Federico Fellini's La Dolce Vita.